All right, so I picked up this Razer Core X Chroma, and I have a RX 6800 GPU in here. This one I got used on eBay for 270. Um, the card was 270. Um, so we'll be using this with the Lenovo Legion Go, which I have right here. And the performance is not going to be as good as a desktop with this graphics card installed in it, but it's good enough that when I put it in, I think it looks phenomenal. And if you turn off the FPS, I found that if you turn off the FPS overlay, you, you stop obsessing on little details and stuff, and you start not realizing the difference between frame rates so much, and you might save a little money. um, but yeah, you will be leaving some performance on the table with this graphics card that you paid for. And like I said, if I turn off the FPS overlay, I would never know. But once you turn it on, you see it, and you're like, "Oh my god, this is crazy." But this is definitely going to be a more expensive option than building a PC with similar specs, more than likely. But it's more about the experience and whatever it is that you're after, and it's not normally going to be like having the most performant PC or anything like that, or for the money. But if you already have, say, a Lenovo Legion Go or a device that supports some kind of Thunderbolt, this will give you way better performance, and I think it looks great on the television. And what was I talking about? So this graphics card is a XFX card that is actually too big to fit in the enclosure just by a hair. In fact, if you were to really want to, you could cut off probably some of this plastic here, and you could actually fit it just fine. In fact, I could actually just kind of cram it in there and lock it shut, but I'm worried about the connection down here getting disconnected a little. So one thing that's interesting is, at least from feeling, I didn't weigh it, but it feels like the enclosure that you put over this is actually a substantial amount heavier than this entire thing. So if you just use it without that, it's a lot lighter. Um, so that's a thing. So I'm going to actually go ahead and put that on this. So pause it for a second. This does come with a power supply and everything you basically need to get going, whereas some other enclosures require you to purchase a separate power supply and other stuff. Other than that, let me get back to this. Okay, so we have here the full thing inside of the case. And now there is a gap here because I can't close this thing. But let me see if I can bring it over a little bit. You can see this gap here. If I really push on it in the center, I can actually lock it. Actually, I'd have to open this up. I can push on this and then lock it in place if I really want to, but I don't want to do that. So that does actually bend the thing in the center. But this is how it is. On the back, you will have there's USB ports and Ethernet, as well as the power and everything like that. So you can plug USB devices in it. It is not recommended to use really fast NVMe storage. One of the things I wanted to do is when I dock my Legion Go, I wanted to be able to use VR, and I have tried it. It worked really well. But I wanted to plug in external storage. So my solution to not taking up all the bandwidth and getting poor performance was a spinning disk hard drive. It's definitely a little slower, but I'm a patient person. This is important. The experience here is important to me more than the graphics and speed. I could wait forever for loading screens because it gives me time to drink coffee. But it worked fairly well. Played some VR titles. I tried it connected to the USB port on here, and I tried it connected directly to the Legion Go through the USB-C port, and I couldn't really tell much of a difference at all. Um, so that actually worked out fairly well. And I'm sure you could put other games on something like this. You probably get something even faster. You can get like a slower SSD, maybe a SATA SSD or something, and do that. But for me, this was fine, and I put some VR titles on here. So when I connect my Legion Go, I get VR support, and it actually works well. Using this setup as a regular desktop works fine. It works great. I don't know that it's any better outside of like maybe more intensive tasks like video editing or something. It's not really gonna really be important for like web browsing or something. The Legion Go, if you hook it up to a TV and you want to web browse with it, just with the USB-C port and HDMI or whatever, it works fine without needing anything like this. So my hope, at least, even though it's a downgrade, is to actually replace my gaming desktop with something like this, just because I like the idea of having the Legion Go, playing it on the go, in my bed, whatever. But then when I want to plop it down and put it on the TV, I can actually play the games on the TV, actually looking good with good graphics, as opposed to plugging it directly into the television and having a game that looks terrible. And also keeping all my save data, like even for emulators and stuff. I mean, Steam is fine most of the time. Some games don't support their cloud saves, but I can just, have all my stuff on one device, plop it down, and continue where I left off. Like the Switch that people wanted. Like you have the dock that has the graphics card in it, and you prop it down. You actually have good graphics on the TV, as opposed to some games looking like really blurry and smudgy, like Doom Eternal or something. Other than that, I mean, some of the problems I actually faced with this was graphics settings. So when I plug it into the TV, there are some automatic settings that are applied sometimes, but I still have to go in and adjust the graphics depending on whether I'm going somewhere or if I'm taking it with me, and using the iGPU, and whether I'm plugged into the graphics card. So that takes a little bit of time and fiddling. You have to remember the graphics settings you chose if you want good performance, and then you gotta take the thing with you, and then you gotta change graphics settings again. And that's annoying. There was a piece of software somebody was working on that's supposed to remedy that, but they stopped working on it, and I have no clue how to use it. So that's one thing. Another thing is the installation process of the drivers is a little finicky. It's not like a plug and play solution where you plug it in and everything works, and you gotta, there's a whole half an hour long tutorial on how to install the graphics drivers. You gotta swap over graphics drivers you need two different graphics drivers for the iGPU, one for the external GPU, and you need to uninstall the old graphics drivers, get the new ones. You also don't get the graphics drivers from Lenovo, so any fixes or anything that they do in their graphics drivers, you don't get those unless they are implemented into the other graphics drivers, and so that's annoying. And what else? Oh, there are some annoyances. Like I said, I wanted to point out the things that are an issue. Other than the fact that you're getting less performance than you would if you had an actual desktop computer with the graphics card installed into it. You're limited to the USB-C or USB 4 uh, Thunderbolt 4. I'm sorry, yeah, Thunderbolt 4, basically. I mean, this is a Thunderbolt 3 dock, but you're not going to really get any extra performance from Thunderbolt 4. So it's kind of the same, basically, but you are limited to whatever this thing is going to give you. um, so it's not like Oculink. That would be really nice. If it was Oculink, that would be great, but it's not. Another thing is you do have to remember to eject the GPU. I kept pulling the cable out without ejecting it, and that kind of borked all the graphics drivers, and I had to redo everything. So make sure you use their, I think it's called X Connect or something like that, in the taskbar or whatever, and you just right click it and eject the graphics card, or else it will actually screw up. um, so there's that. And yeah, so basically the benefits here are I like the idea that I can take the Lenovo Legion Go, plop it down, remove the True Strike controllers as they call them, Joy-Cons, and then I actually have this 3D printed adapter. I will be back with that. Yeah, I have this, which is actually a modified. I reworked someone else's design. They had this, but this part was open, and I kept breaking it. It would flex and it would break. So I added this piece here. But I like the angle on this is not too severe like a lot of the other ones, and I remixed it and made it so that it wouldn't break. And I've been using this with the True Strike controllers, and yeah, so there's that, and that's a thing. So I can plop those controllers on and plug into my television, and I can actually just play my games, kind of like a Switch. And yeah, and I could just use the there's a kickstand on the back, so I could just plop out the kickstand, put the tablet down, plug it in, put the controllers on, and then I could play, except I get better graphics settings. And that's cool. I got a USB on the back of this. And that's about it. I mean, also I have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth built into the thing, which I had to use dongles for my main PC because I didn't have enough lanes and ports and everything, whatever, on my motherboard to put in a Wi-Fi thingy card and Bluetooth or whatever. So I used USB, and that was annoying. It didn't work as well. This is working very well. So there's that. Some electronic device just made a noise in my house. Anyway, so I guess we're at the point where I can actually try this thing out, and we can put this on the television, and I can play some games, and yeah. All right, so now I have the Legion Go hooked up to the Razer Core X Chroma. Uh, it is called the Core X Chroma, I believe, because mostly it has RGB. I think. It does have RGB if you really care about that. It's a thing. The Core X is basically the same thing, but it has no USB ports or Ethernet or RGB. So if you don't care about that stuff, you can use one of those or something on eBay. So I'm loading up the Legion Space, I believe it is, software. And now we have the power. Actually, let me show you the fact that we have, in fact, installed our RX 6800 here. There is a video on YouTube. It's like half an hour long. It's a really concise one of how to install the software, except you just have to, instead of using the software in the video, it's for the, what is that thing, that other GPU, the 1X GPU. But instead of installing the 1X GPU drivers, you would install the drivers for your actual graphics card instead. So, let's see, I can never remember where to find this information, but it should hopefully be here. It is right here, AMD Radeon RX 6800 GPU 1. There's two GPUs, so you have your these are the graphics you have to install to get this to work. And there's a whole process. You don't just install it, but the 780M AMD Radeon graphics. And so there's that. All right, so you also do get, what is it? There is the, what is that called? The fluid motion frames. You get AMD fluid motion frames, which I actually am going to turn off because honestly it hasn't been working well for me, and it works just better for me without it. So we will load up a game. I want to do some VR too. I don't know, maybe I should make that a separate video. I don't want to make this video 100 years long. Only 50 years long. So let's do the infamous Call of Duty. I will at least try to bring up the what's a face? What's the word for that? It's called an overlay, frame rate, for the frame rate. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, there. So now, if I actually was to boot this game up on in handheld mode after using it in dock mode here, it would end up having to do the shader compilation, which now it's doing anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter. Shader compilation is mandatory no matter what you do. It sounds like I'm getting TV audio, so let me see if I can fix the audio issue here, because that does not sound like my crappy soundbar. It sounds worse than my crappy soundbar. Yep, TV speakers. I don't want that. I don't want it to be too loud too, because I have to yap over it. We're almost done with the shader compilation shit, so let's go and check the graphics settings here. I did have to tone some of it down to, so yeah, it's set to 4K, but it's scaled, so it's using FSR3, and I believe that's with performance. Here, we have frame generation on and performance, so trying to get more frames out of it. But things are set to high. Nothing, yeah, the only thing it's off is the things that normally cause issues, like on-demand texture streaming. If you ever have issues with stuttering and shit, like on-demand texture streaming, and there's another one that caused the VRAM. Set the VRAM scale down to 50. So that'll, even in portable mode, that'll mostly fix the stuttering issues with this game. Anyway, so let's bring up there we go, it worked. So we have our FPS thing there. Now we will find a game. And to me, from where I'm sitting, this looks great. Graphically, my desktop that I have this installed in and this don't look all that much different unless you stare at it. And I had my desktop was set to like a little bit higher. It was set to like still at FSR with frame gen on, but it was like what was it? It wasn't native. It was the other one, but it was higher settings, and I was getting higher frame rates. I was getting like 120 locked frame rate, which is what this TV supports. So this TV has VRR and 120 FPS support. So yeah, I like to play on the TV. I'm not a fan of either one of these maps. I really don't like either one. But yeah, so they can choose whatever they want. It's gonna suck either way. They're gonna be camping. I can't stand camping. Or whatever. So I'm gonna make a fool out of myself because if everybody's camping, I'm gonna want to run, and I refuse to camp. So I'll just get shot in the face. The characters in this make me feel like I'm in high school. Look at these people like, wait, why am I sitting with these high school kids? Because I probably am. Oh, that's that girl that I used to know from high school. She was a giant edgelord. His graphics look a little fucked up. Sometimes the graphics... Oh, God. Here we go. Sometimes the graphics get a little screwed up when you switch between portable... Oh, God. I'm paying attention to this. I didn't see anybody. Anyways, the graphics get a little screwed up sometimes. Let me see if the... Yeah, see that? My arm didn't go. That was... that happens when you switch a lot of times between the portable mode and the... and docking it with the GPU. Oh God. Fuck me. That's what he said. Alright, I'll just take this. At least I can get something accomplished. But yeah, sometimes the graphics and textures and shit will be all messed up. Oh, there we go. I can't kill anybody. Oh, whatever. Oh, come on, man. You spawned me right there. How dare you? I'm gonna go take a dump. That's it. I can't take it anymore. I'm just gonna take a shit. Anyways, yeah, so if you... I don't know if it's just unhooking it or whatever, but I get graphical glitches in this game. Yeah, sure, whatever. Have I gotten any kills? No, right? I haven't got one damn kill. We're gonna change that right now. Well, at least they're not camping. I was sure they were going to be camping. Oh, God. But yeah, you will get graphical glitches like in the first game or the first two games, which is weird. I don't understand it. I probably shouldn't even bother be playing this because there's no way in hell I'm going to be doing good because I'm trying to... Not only do I suck in general, but I'm trying to like explain things and pay attention to other things, and so that was Call of Duty played with this very badly. But I am going to now jump. I don't want that. I'm going to jump into another game that takes a little more effort. I'm not going to jump into Halo. Halo will work at 1440p native at like medium graphics and over 60 FPS. But what am I doing? What game am I trying to play here? All right. I can get Soul Calibur. I don't know if Soul Calibur will work 60 FPS at 4K. I do have it, I think, running at 1440p. Well, let's go in. I built a fight stick just for fun. It was a cheaper thing, but I built one yesterday just because I always wanted to, and I was playing using Soul Calibur with the fight stick, and I would like to plug it in, but the camera's in my way, so I'm just going to use the controller. But yeah, actually, it's right here. Maybe I can get a hold of it just to show it off. It's nothing special. It's just a cheap AliExpress thing, but hey, here it is. There's light up buttons and fun stuff. You could buy a better one for the same price. But it's mine. I built it. So let's see if we can do 4K. A lot of fighting games are locked at 60 FPS, so you're not getting like 100 or anything like that. Okay, I'm gonna bump it up to 4K. I think I'm at 1440p. I don't know what. Oh, we're on high. Okay, let's try 4K. Let's see what happens. I know I can do 60 FPS at 1440p, and it looks great, but I haven't tried 4K. Hey. Okay, starting off. It always starts off at a, like, yeah, so now it's up to 60 FPS. And it looks like it's going to work at 4K, so that's cool. Native 4K. Yeah. Yeah, it's working really well. Native 4K, you know, 60 FPS. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm getting murdered again. Yeah, there you go. So, and this game looks gorgeous. For a last gen game, I mean, a lot of last gen games look really good compared to the newer games. Like, they're very poorly optimized in newer games, and then they just run like shit. It's like, oh, they look nice, but they are optimized like dog shit. That was dumb. Okay, so yeah, we got Soul Calibur running 4K 60 FPS. So that's looking really nice. Coming from the Legion Go. A lot of the games I play don't require much. In fact, the Legion Go can actually max them out without the graphics card, so... Yeah, I don't think a lot of the games I'm going to play on the thing are really going to give it much issue. So I'm going to just back out of this.
I'm sorry. I believe in the path I chose.
I believe. Alright, so yeah, there we have that. I also tried the 6700 XT in this thing, and that worked fine too. In fact, it's just almost about the same. Like, I would almost say get the 6700 XT. The only thing is that VR works better on the 6800. There's only, you know, get a little more boost in frames for the 6800 over the 6700 XT, right? Yeah. You're not getting much from that outside of VR, which I thought was just less compressed and a little smoother, which makes the experience easier to deal with. Uh, yeah, we're doing the Legion Go thing, where this actually gets all messed up. This happens on Legion Go in general, and you have to like relaunch the app or change the resolution or just deal with it. And I'm just gonna deal with it. So Speedstorm is a game that really runs very well, even on the Disney Speedstorm. Runs really well, even on the internal, the iGPU, at like even for like 1440p. So I'm not gonna like bother testing that because I know it can run at 4K, no problem. There's no need for an external GPU for that game. See if there's a game here that I have installed that would really warrant. Like, I'm sure Skyrim will work fine. I know Killer Instinct will work fine. Like, a lot of these games, I'm like, these games will work just fine. But I think VR is going to be where this actually is going to shine. Not so much, oh, you have Bright Memory Infinite. Let's see what happens. Hopefully I don't have to do too much configuration with the graphics. This game does work on the iGPU. Alright, it's great, but I don't know that you're getting much in the way of high resolutions or anything. I tried there's a benchmark for ray tracing. That didn't go very well, but in general, ray tracing doesn't do well on AMD cards and in general, so most people just turn ray tracing off, like myself, so they can get better frame rates. And we have anti-lag enabled. I wonder how this, oh, what just happened? Okay, there we go. PC things happened, okay. So we are getting over 100. We're getting 120 FPS at least in the menus. That's not really saying much, but we got hope. Oh well, why is it that I'm not getting a controller input here? Okay, so it's not taking the controller input, and it's not. Oh, there we go. Maybe I have to enable a controller in the settings. I think I've had this. Oh, now the controller's working. Maybe it's just because it wasn't in focus. Okay. The application didn't focus. That's an annoying thing with Windows sometimes. I have to use a mouse to make sure the application actually focuses on the input devices. Okay. There you go. Here we are. Looking quite good here. I think this is... Oh, okay. Okay, what was I supposed to do there? Oh, grapple. Yes, grapple. Of course. But we are getting like 60 FPS. I gotta check the graphics settings. It does look really good, but I want to see what we're doing here when it comes to graphics. We get no video. Okay, so we're on 1920 by 1080. We have a frame cap of 60 FPS, which I don't want. VSync is off. Why is I don't know. Anyways, let's try now without the frame cap there, and we're getting over 100 FPS. All right. So this is 1080p. I don't want to see if what happens if I raise the resolution to 1440. Don't expect 4K. I just don't. If this were a desktop with the same GPU in it, I probably would expect 4K.
According to the census, the black hole is generating a stream of unstable pulse waves. You won't be able to use your exo unit or weapon.
And why does it keep bothering me
Look
about
around for something to protect
the
yourself.
Steam remote play thing? Okay, so right now we're a little over 100. Let's see if we can actually bump up the... Although it looks very good at 1080p. I gotta see if I'm actually using... Okay. Are there any other graphic settings here? No? That's it. Let's try 1440. No, I want 120. That's the... Why did it do that? Alright. 1440. Let's see what happens at 1440p. So key config controls. Alright. Let's see. Oh wow, we're still getting over 100. Even at 1440. And it looks amazing. Okay, so what am I doing? Other than... Oh, okay, here we go. Okay, let me try. I'm gonna, just for the fuck of it, I'm gonna attempt 4K. I don't expect it to work as good as 1440p. And here we are, 4K. 75 FPS. Oh wow, 83? This is quite usable at 4K.
Remember, you get spotted, it's all over.
Actually, I would play it like this. This is how I would play it, 4K.
A patrolling enemy vehicle is closing in. Hide in the shadows.
What am I doing here? Hide in the shadows.
Don't get lit up.
Don't get lit up. Okay. Oop. They found me. I don't know how, but they found me. Run for it, Marty! Alright, fuck it. Let's kill that guy. Okay, there you go. Okay, so, wow, I was surprised. I'm very surprised that it's working that well at 4K. No scaling or anything. Oh, actually, let me see. Do we have FSR? I don't think it matters. Yeah, Radeon Super Resolution is enabled, but if it's at 4K, I don't think it's doing anything. Warning level. What? Oh, fuck. Not again. Why is the warning level up and...
Come on! Shoot me!
Okay. Okay, so now the warning level's down. Okay. Can I do this? Okay, so yeah. What is going on here, mister? He's having fun. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here, and yeah, next video is going to be some VR. There is emulation. Emulation, I noticed it seems like it doesn't use the graphics card. I think you have to set the individual emulators to do it. But it just seems the same. And it's great anyway, so I don't care. Emulation never gave me an issue here. So, I don't know. I think you have to select the graphics card in the actual emulator settings if you want to do that. But like, again, I've never had an issue at all, even with PS3. So, But I might do a video on emulation if I can get it all set up. Everything else just seems to work fine. Maybe grounded would be an issue, I don't know. But that's long enough. So it's working really well, just few annoyances. And yeah, so if you would like this type of setup, it is a possibility. And thank you for watching.